Welcome to our College Briefing program. Today, we've got a trio of intriguing stories to share with you. First up, Columbia University's president is set to testify before Congress, addressing the university's stance and actions amidst the Israel-Hamas conflict. This comes amidst criticism over the handling of anti-Semitism allegations and broader questions about academic freedom and responsibility. Next, we turn our attention to a recent poll revealing that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the U.S. hold stronger beliefs in human-caused climate change compared to the general population. This insight challenges common perceptions and underscores the importance of including diverse voices in environmental dialogues. Lastly, we dive into a defamation drama where a young man, wrongly identified by a major news network as a criminal, is taking legal action to clear his name and seek justice. These stories highlight the complex interplay of education, media, and societal issues facing us today. Please stay tuned for the detailed coverage on each topic. In a world that often feels divided, the actions and beliefs of individuals and institutions can spark significant conversations and sometimes controversies. One such instance is unfolding at Columbia University, where President Nemat Shafik is set to make a notable appearance before the House Education and Workforce Committee. As reported by the Toronto Star, this comes in the wake of criticism directed at the university for its handling of the Israel-Hamas war and the broader issue of anti-Semitism on campus. The spotlight turned to Columbia University when comparisons were drawn with responses from Harvard University President Liz Magill and University of Pennsylvania President Claudine Gay, who faced questions about whether advocating for the genocide of Jews would breach their university's codes of conduct. Their answers, suggesting that the context would be a determining factor, have ignited a broader debate on academic freedom, hate speech, and the responsibilities of educational institutions in navigating these complex issues. In another part of the United States, a different but equally important conversation is taking place around climate change and who believes in it. The Independent highlights a recent poll conducted by AAPI Data and the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, revealing that Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, AAPI, are more likely than the general adult population in the U.S. to believe in human-caused climate change. A striking 84% of AAPI adults acknowledge the existence of climate change, compared to 74% of the broader U.S. adult population. Moreover, a significant portion of AAPI adults who believe in climate change attribute it mostly or entirely to human activities, a view less commonly held by the general population. This poll not only sheds light on the environmental views of AAPI individuals, a group often underrepresented in surveys, but it also underscores the importance of engaging these communities in environmental initiatives. Their growing numbers and concern for the environment could play a pivotal role in shaping future policies and actions to combat climate change. Meanwhile, in Australia, a case of mistaken identity has led to a legal battle against Network 7. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that Benjamin Cohen, a university student wrongfully accused by Channel 7 News of being involved in a stabbing in Bondi Junction, is pursuing a defamation case against the network. Represented by barrister Sue Chrysantha SC and defamation lawyer Patrick George, Cohen aims to clear his name after the network's erroneous report identified him as the assailant, a claim later corrected by NSW police who identified Joel Kochi as the perpetrator. Cohen's pursuit of justice highlights the devastating impact of misinformation and the importance of media accountability. The network's response to Cohen's defamation claim, expected within 28 days, is awaited with keen interest as it touches on broader themes of truth, responsibility, and the consequences of false reporting. These stories, from the halls of academia in the United States to the courtrooms of Australia, reflect a world grappling with complex issues ranging from free speech and climate change to media accuracy and accountability. Each narrative, while unique in its context and characters, contributes to the larger conversation about how society navigates the challenges of the 21st century. Whether it's addressing anti-Semitism in educational institutions, engaging underrepresented communities in environmental advocacy, or ensuring media integrity, these stories underscore the ongoing efforts to foster understanding, accountability, and action in a rapidly changing world. In a groundbreaking investigation by the BBC and the Russian independent media group Mediazona, the stark reality of the human cost of Russia's military operations in Ukraine has been brought to light. The inquiry reveals that over 50,000 Russian soldiers have lost their lives since the onset of the conflict, a figure that starkly contrasts with Moscow's significantly lower official death toll announced in September 2022. The second year of combat alone accounted for more than 27,300 of these deaths, underscoring a grim escalation in fatalities. This discrepancy suggests a concerted effort by the Russian government to downplay the extent of its military casualties. The analysis goes further to illuminate the dire circumstances of those sent to the front lines, including a significant number of prisoners and inexperienced recruits, who often had mere months of survival upon being deployed. This meat grinder strategy, as it has been aptly named, not only exposes the brutal tactics employed by Moscow but also the profound personal tragedies endured by countless families who have lost their loved ones in this relentless conflict. Meanwhile, in the realm of college sports, the University of Miami has made headlines with its financial commitment to football coach Mario Cristobal. In a staggering revelation by Yahoo US, it was disclosed that Cristobal received an unprecedented $22.7 million in 2022, a sum that includes $7.7 million in base pay and an additional $14.9 million in other reportable compensation. This financial arrangement not only sets a new benchmark in college football coaching salaries but also raises questions about the prioritization of funds within academic institutions. The hefty paycheck awarded to Cristobal reflects the high stakes and immense pressures associated with college football in the United States, where successful programs can significantly boost a university's profile and revenue. On the political front, the South China Morning Post reports on the escalating feud between two of the Philippines' most influential political dynasties, the Marcoses and the Dutertes. This rivalry, which has deepened since the election of Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as president, is not only a source of national intrigue but also a matter of international concern. The discord between these families, once allies, has now spilled over into public disputes and calls for military intervention. This saga is emblematic of the complex interplay of political loyalty, power struggles, and the enduring impact of these dynamics on the nation's governance and its stance on pressing international issues, such as the dispute over the West Philippine Sea. The ongoing tensions serve as a stark reminder of the challenges that lie in reconciling political ambitions with the broader interests of the Filipino people and the international community. These stories, spanning the grim realities of war, the opulence of sports salaries, and the tumultuous landscape of political dynasties, paint a vivid picture of the diverse and often contradictory facets of modern life. From the battlefields of Ukraine to the football fields of Miami and the political arenas of the Philippines, each narrative offers a unique lens through which to view the complexities of human endeavor and the consequences of our collective choices. In the world of politics and environmental advocacy, Bob Graham was a towering figure whose legacy is etched into the heart of Florida and the broader United States. The Associated Press reported the passing of this influential former U.S. Senator and Governor of Florida at the age of 87. Graham's journey in public service began in 1966 when he was elected to the Florida State House of Representatives, a precursor to a career that would see him ascend to the highest echelons of political power and influence. By 1970, Graham had secured a seat in the state Senate, laying the groundwork for his tenure as Florida's governor from 1979 to 1987. His leadership was marked by a commitment to environmental conservation, education reform, and addressing the challenges of his time with foresight and pragmatism. Graham's political journey didn't stop at the governor's mansion. In 1987, he was elected to the U.S. Senate, where he served 3 distinguished terms until 2005. During this period, he notably chaired the Senate Intelligence Committee following the harrowing 2001 terrorist attacks, showcasing his dedication to national security and intelligence oversight. Yahoo US highlighted Graham's instrumental role in shaping Florida's educational and environmental policies. As governor, he introduced competency testing in schools, a move that laid the foundation for the state's modern educational standards. His environmental initiatives helped preserve Florida's natural beauty for future generations, illustrating his vision for a sustainable future. Furthermore, Graham's leadership during the early 1980s, when Florida faced a mass influx of Cuban rafters, demonstrated his ability to navigate complex humanitarian crises with compassion and resolve. Beyond his political achievements, Graham was an early critic of the Iraq War, showcasing his willingness to stand firm on his convictions, even when it meant going against the tide. His attempt to secure the Democratic presidential nomination in 2004, though ultimately unsuccessful due to health issues, underscored his commitment to public service and his belief in a better future for America. After retiring from the political arena, Graham continued to contribute to public service, leading an independent commission investigating the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. This role underscored his ongoing commitment to environmental stewardship and accountability, themes that defined much of his career. In another realm of public discourse, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation shed light on an issue that affects many yet remains underdiscussed: the challenge women face in communicating pelvic pain to healthcare providers. Jane Chalmers from the University of South Australia emphasized the need for both the medical industry and women themselves to develop a language that accurately conveys the symptoms and experiences of pelvic pain. Conditions such as endometriosis, vulvodynia, and irritable bowel syndrome are common causes of pelvic pain, yet the lack of a common vocabulary often hampers effective diagnosis and treatment. Chalmers' insights highlight a broader issue in healthcare. Effective communication between patients and providers is crucial for accurate diagnosis and treatment. Women, in particular, face unique challenges in this regard, as societal norms and medical practices have not always provided the space or language necessary to articulate their conditions fully. By advocating for a more informed and empathetic approach to discussing pelvic pain, Chalmers is championing a shift towards a more inclusive and effective healthcare system. The stories of Bob Graham and the advocacy for better communication in women's health may seem worlds apart, yet they share a common thread: the importance of voice. Whether in the political arena or the doctor's office, having the language to articulate one's experience and the platform to be heard is crucial. Graham's legacy as a politician who listened and acted on behalf of his constituents, and the ongoing efforts to equip women with the language to describe their pain, both serve as reminders of the power of communication in effecting change. In the heart of Spokane, a celebration of academic excellence unfolded at the 32nd Annual Spokane Scholars Banquet, hosted by the Spokane Scholars Foundation. This prestigious event, covered by Yahoo US, spotlighted 168 high-achieving seniors from 30 schools across the Spokane area, all recognized for their exceptional talents in disciplines ranging from English and fine arts to mathematics, science, social studies, and world languages. Each of these young scholars, nominated by their high schools for their outstanding achievements, received scholarships ranging from $1,000 to $4,000. The banquet not only highlighted their academic prowess but also their love for learning, setting a vibrant example of how dedication and passion for education can be celebrated and rewarded in our communities. Meanwhile, in the political arena, the Solomon Islands found themselves at a critical juncture, with the Japan Times reporting on the elections that could potentially reshape the geopolitical landscape of the South Pacific. Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare faced a challenging re-election campaign, with the outcome poised to influence the Solomon Islands' ties with global powers, notably China. This election, closely watched by international players including Washington, Beijing, and Canberra, underscored the intricate balance of international relations and the significant impact of local elections on global diplomacy. The Solomon Islands, a key player in the Pacific, became a focal point for discussions on influence and alliances, highlighting the complex interplay between domestic politics and international strategies. In a different corner of the globe, a case of mistaken identity led to a legal battle in Australia, as reported by the Sydney Morning Herald. Benjamin Cohen, a 20-year-old man wrongfully identified as the Bondi Junction mass murderer by the Seven Network, found himself at the center of a defamation case. With the aid of two of Australia's leading defamation lawyers, Cohen sought justice and reparations for the erroneous identification made by Seven's Sunrise program, which had named him as the perpetrator less than 24 hours after the knife attack. This incident, which saw Joel Kochi later identified as the actual offender, raised critical questions about media responsibility, the impact of misinformation, and the importance of accurate reporting. Cohen's legal action against the Seven Network underscored the significant consequences of media errors, not only for the individuals involved but also for the credibility and accountability of the media industry at large. Each of these stories, from the celebration of academic achievements in Spokane to the geopolitical implications of the Solomon Islands elections and the legal battle over a case of mistaken identity in Australia, reflects the diverse tapestry of global events that shape our world. Whether it's the recognition of young scholars, the strategic outcomes of political elections, or the quest for justice in the face of media misinformation, these narratives underscore the complexity and interconnectedness of our global society. They remind us of the importance of celebrating achievements, understanding the stakes of political decisions, and upholding the principles of accuracy and fairness in all aspects of public discourse. In a move that has basketball fans buzzing, Kansas basketball's freshman sensation, Johnny Furphy, has made the bold decision to declare for the 2024 NBA Draft, as reported by Yahoo US. Despite this significant step towards his professional career, Furphy is not closing the door on his collegiate journey just yet. With an impressive freshman season under his belt, where he started 19 of 33 games for the Jayhawks and caught the eyes of scouts and analysts alike, Furphy has managed to maintain his college eligibility. This strategic move allows him the flexibility to return for his sophomore season, should he choose to further develop his skills at the collegiate level. His potential as a first-round pick in numerous mock drafts only adds to the anticipation of where his promising career will head next. Transitioning from the basketball court to the football field, another young athlete is making headlines for stepping into a significant role. Yahoo US shares the inspiring story of Jackson Arnold, who is embracing his new position as the starting quarterback for OU football ahead of their spring game. Arnold, who is stepping into the shoes left by former quarterback Dillon Gabriel, has been commended by coach Brent Venables for his mental growth and readiness to lead the team. Unlike Gabriel's initial struggle with the Oklahoma playbook, Arnold brings a year's worth of experience and a strong relationship with offensive coordinator Seth Littrell to the table. This familiarity and preparation have Arnold and his coach optimistic about their success in the upcoming game, signaling a promising season for the Sooners. While the sports world is filled with stories of young athletes chasing their dreams, it's essential to remember the broader implications of the demanding schedules and pressures that come with such pursuits. The Independent highlights a concerning trend in the workforce at large, where working late hours and subscribing to a hustle culture can significantly increase the likelihood of depression and poor health later in life. A study published in PLOS One, examining the work schedules and sleep patterns of 7,000 Americans over 3 decades, reveals that only a quarter of participants worked regular daytime hours. Those who worked night hours or rotating shifts as young adults were more likely to experience sleep struggles, poor health, and depression by age 50. The study's author, Wen-Ji Han, hopes the research will shed light on the need for resources to support individuals who find themselves physically exhausted and emotionally drained due to their work commitments. These stories, ranging from the exciting prospects of young athletes to the sobering realities of work-related health risks, paint a vivid picture of the challenges and triumphs that define our modern society. Whether it's Johnny Furphy weighing his options between the NBA and another college season, Jackson Arnold stepping confidently into a leadership role, or the broader workforce grappling with the health implications of their work schedules, each narrative offers a glimpse into the diverse experiences shaping our world today. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.